I am Ray, and you better turn this video off right now, unless you want to be rich. Here, let me show you proof that I know what I'm talking about. Oh, wow. You see that? Ballin'. Hold on. Let's put this back. I found a $5 bill walking on the street the other day. The bill itself wasn't walking, I was walking, but maybe you knew that. Just had to clarify. When you start living in abundance, let me make sure this camera's set up good. Yep, good. You will see signs. Have you seen Signs, the Alien movie? You will see aliens and signs. And Mexicans. Meaning, if you observe the data coming into your awareness, you can see your ratio to scarcity and abundance. If that makes sense. How abundant you are versus how much you're in lack and scarcity. Now the goal is, when the evidence of your lack appears in your life, you do not want to feed it, because the more you feed it, the more you're going to experience more things that result in lack. So this is the key. Because the universe is infinitely balanced between negativity and positivity. There's infinite black holes and scarcity and lack and death everywhere. And there's also infinite abundance and stars everywhere. So we cannot afford to be realists and look at our life and say, well, yes, there's some lack over here and there's some abundance over here. Because there's abundance and lack everywhere. Everywhere. Underwear? All you want to do to start living in abundance without years of grinding is simply focus on the abundance already present in your life and stop feeding the lack and scarcity. And you see, because we don't know how to live, we don't know how to work this human machine, we don't understand how we're creating reality all the time. We think it's just random stuff happening. But here's the deal. The art of the deal. Donald the Trump, he's on his way. Let's go like this. Quote. You know, I probably could have just said this and didn't have to spend all this time writing it down, but we all like buts. You will always create more of what you focus on. Done. And why is this, you might ask? Is because we all have energy. I guess not all of us, but some of us. Some of us are running on 8 cans of Red Bull. Should change the slogan to, or from, Red Bull gives you wings to, we all float down here. I think that makes sense. Every single day you have an allotment of energy. And when you lose that allotment, when you use it up, you have to go to sleep to get more of it, to go back into the ether and get more energy from the etheric realms to fuel your human existence here on this planet. But how do we even use that energy in the first place? Like, how is it directed? Well, it's directed by what you focus on, your mind. You point your mind in a direction and you use your energy every single moment. Whether you're thinking about things, whether you're thinking about doing things, whether you're procrastinating and not doing things, you're using up energy. Just Mr. Hamza, if you've ever heard of him, self-improvement guy, he talks about brain points, so I'm going to steal that from him. It's mine now, not his. You have all these brain points throughout the day to spend on things. And depending on what you spend them on determines the quality of your life. Because think about the nature of energy for a moment. What is energy? Well, okay, what are some different examples of energy? What about gasoline? You put gas in your car, unless you're one of those liberals who drives an electric vehicle. Be gone from me. When your car runs out of fuel, what do you say? I'm out of gas. But what's really going on? Your car dies. Technically. When you put gas in the car is alive. Now you can drive it, now it functions. When there's no gas in the car, it's dead. Same thing with a battery. The battery is electricity. When the battery is running fine, the car is alive. When the battery is dead, the car is dead. So too, when you have energy, you feel alive. When you have no energy, you feel like death. You don't feel like doing nothing. So too, when you're late on your payment PG&E bill, your house shuts off, it's dark, you can barely survive, you gotta light your candles. Your house is dead. But when you have lights, oh, the house is alive, it's vibrant, we're okay for now. So too, look at the sun. The sun is a big ball of energy, that's all it is. And the sun, and stars in general, give life to all things. All the life on planet Earth it's given to us by the sun. That is all. There's no other reason that we exist. It's just sun. No matter what way you look at it, energy is the force of life. It gives life. I mean, it's the same thing. It's also the force of creation. So wherever you channel your energy, that is what you give life to. And that is what you create. Which is why I said you always create more of what you focus on. And if you just realize that this is how the machine works. You have a mind. It's a tool to direct your energy, your creative God power. So we are all made in the image of God. We're all mini gods. But we're living like monkeys because we don't understand our God power. And that's why I say the price of ignorance is slavery and death. Here, let me entice you for a moment. Ooh, you like bananas, don't you? You like bananas? Come get some bananas. Organic. I knew that would get you. Now, the entire quality of our life is determined exactly by the quality of the things we focus on. So all we have to do to change our life is to focus on different things and become aware of the stupid things we're already focusing on. We're learning how to live, literally, because a lot of people are just thrown into life. They wing the whole thing, never really taking the time and effort to stop and slow down and ask themselves, well, what is this life thing really all about? Is it really about paying bills and taxes and maybe, a weekend or two off a year to go on vacation with people? I don't even know if I like these people. Like, what is the point of everything? What is the point of what you are doing? And you see this a lot of the time. It's like people are working all the time. Why? Well, I gotta survive. Well, you could survive your whole life and never get anywhere and never do anything. Why do you do this? And the problem is, it's often very uncomfortable to face ourselves. To ask ourselves these big questions, these existential, big things that may just be overwhelming to us, so that's why we don't do it. But it baffles me. Because if you don't live an intentional life, you will never get anything intentional. You will never get anything that you really want. Life will just be this kind of random series of happenings until you die. So you do not have the luxury of not getting clear about what you want and what kind of life you want to live. Stop surviving for 5 seconds and start thriving. Survival to thrival. Because I promise you, life is going to happen whether or not you live intentionally or not. Meaning, if there is a void in your life, you don't have a vision for your life, you don't have a purpose, you don't have some ultimate dream that you're striving for, the void will be filled with daily monotonous tasks, survival, paying bills, running around in circles forever, never getting ahead, trapped in an eternal loop of work, sleep, daily tasks, over and over again, until you finally experience enough suffering, hopefully it's not too late, where you decide, okay, well, this has to change. I can't keep living like this, not like this. And that's one of the big differentiating factors between people who are successful and people who are not. People who are successful do not allow themselves to settle for garbage. They only accept the best of the best of the best. Sir, with honor. Haven't you seen Men in Black? And people who fail at this life, settle for scraps. They settle for beggarness. And there's a part of me in which compassion arises for people who are in this beggar consciousness. But then I continue to think about it and I realize everybody's got choices. I have to live with the choices that I've made, so why should anyone else not have to live with the choices that they made? And why should I feel bad for them if they chose to settle for scraps? And the funny thing is, this whole game of life, and maybe you're young enough to not fall into this trap, but whether or not you live a magnificent, grand life, or maybe you just live a simple life, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to be the king of the world. But there's two factors that you have to overcome if you do not want to settle for less. There's two driving forces that are coming for your cheeks, I promise you. And they are called instinct number 1 and instinct number 2. Instinct number 1 is survival. Instinct number 2 is the sexual instinct. Sexal. Sex with Al. Oh, that sounds terrible. It reminds me of Toy Story. There's a lot of ways that could be taken the wrong way. Literally, your success as a human being is determined by how you deal with these two instincts. As Jesus told someone in the Gospel of Thomas, if the lion eats the man, that's not good, because the man becomes lion. His consciousness is lowered. But if the man eats the lion, good, because the lion becomes a man, consciousness raises. And this is what he was talking about. He was talking about if you learn to integrate your animal instincts so that they are on the same page with you, you will be great. But if you allow your instincts to pull you down and pull you around town, then that's not going to be good for you. Because, well, just look at people. Look at the people in your life. Maybe look at your own life. Look at people on the internet. Many, many people, their whole primary purpose in life is to survive. And also, why does someone stay in a dead-end job for decades? You see people, even old people sometimes, working as a cashier at like 60 years old. What have you been doing, my friend? AI hasn't taken over yet. It's because our survival instinct is risk averse. It will do everything in its power to keep you safe so that you don't die. So your survival instincts would prefer you living in a miserable hell if it means that you are survival. You are alive. You are alive in survival. I think you get what I mean, but the words are not. They're not correct. The words have betrayed me. I need a banana. It's my comfort food. The whole point of this is to realize that your survival instincts will come into play. Will be a voice in your head that says, even though this isn't what you want, even though this isn't what you like to do, you're going to do it because the pay is good enough for you to sacrifice your dreams. You write a check. Yes, my dreams are worth $70,000 a year. Because, well, once you embark on that job or whatever it is, you will not have time to do other things. All of your time will be filled working a job you don't like, or that it's okay, it's good enough, right? But you don't realize the opportunity cost. And that's the problem with the survival instinct. It just wants, let me be safe now, because there's no guaranteed safety in the future, in the unknown. In chaos. The name of the game for the survival instinct is the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And whenever you get that voice from your soul that says, hey, why don't you do something like this? Something like art or music or writing or poetry or whatever. The survival instinct is going to come along and says, well, that would be nice, but I got bills to pay. That is all. And so you'll cut off your dreams and they'll just slowly die. And if you don't actually wake up out of this hypnosis, out of this dream, again, your days will be filled with tasks and monotonous things and duties. You need a vision for your life that is stronger than the survival instinct. Now, I'm not saying you need to be taking the biggest risks you can. I mean, if you're young, do it, because as you get older, you can take less and less risks because you don't have the energy and the time to deal with it. But when you're young, take all the risks. Doesn't make any sense. And it's the same thing for the sexual instinct, too. It's like in your early 20s, here, let me get married. Well, maybe you're one in a million who have found their soulmate, or maybe you're just settling for the first person that showed you interest. So even if you overcome the survival instinct, you got this just as big titan of existence coming to pull you down. Especially for men, it doesn't make any sense to get married early on. Because when you're young, you got nothing to show for your life. You have to build it up. Now, maybe it's a different story for women. I don't know. But you can see how we're settling all the time and how people are settling all the time. Because these instincts come along and say, better to be safe than sorry. And unless you have some other vision for your life pulling you away from these negative voices, they will overpower you. This right here is the wall that separates the wheat from the chaff. It separates the people in life who will be great versus the people who settle for less. Now, it doesn't mean you can't take a job you don't necessarily care about in the meantime. It doesn't mean you can't forbid being in a relationship. What it means is you have your eyes on higher things so that these lower instincts don't keep you stuck. It's very practical to just get a job that makes enough money, but don't stop there. Use it as a foundation to build your life upon. And you found yourself in this trap when life feels very dry. Now, what does this mean? It means there's no juice in your life. It's just kind of like, another day. There's no real purpose or meaning. It's just going through the motions. There's no more deep connection with your partner. And there's no passion. There's no real emotion. It's just kind of there. And the reason is because in the back of your mind, there's a voice that is always present that we ignore, we push it away. And that voice is saying, hey, you are settling for less. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. Remember that dream you had when you were 10 years old? Hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. Listen to me. Listen to me. Stop settling. There's better things out there for you if you would just listen to me. And if you sacrifice your soul, which is the same thing as sacrificing your dreams, you will be disconnected from your soul and all this crust will form around it. And it is that crust that creates this feeling of discontentment, of dryness, of just be like, yeah, life isn't really all that much worth living, to be honest. Like, I'm just kind of living, but why? Why am I even here? Why am I doing this? Only when you connect to your soul's purpose will you be filled with meaning and purpose. And that's how you know you're on your soul's purpose, is because life is meaningful. And if life has no meaning for you, it means you have been cut off from your soul. And you have been cut off from your soul because you listen to the animal instincts instead of your higher intuitive power, higher intuitive wisdom. That's telling you all the time, hey, you were meant for more. You're not actualizing your highest potential. Many people sacrifice their dreams on the altar of practicality because their instincts are too powerful and they are not strong enough to overcome them. But that's the price we pay for the true riches in this life. Without risk, there is no reward. So if you settle for safety, you'll get safe rewards. Now, here's another thing. And I guess if this is the case for you, you probably aren't watching this video anymore. Because some people don't want much. They just want, the basics and a little bit extra so they don't have to worry about things. A nice home with some chickens and maybe some bell peppers growing in the backyard. And that's okay. You don't need to be the king of the world, like I said. But regardless, you still want to be living in abundance. And the great news is that when you start living in abundance, you're not just automatically gonna become a billionaire. You're going to get the right amount of money for you. Because for some people, having $1 million would destroy their lives. They don't need it. They don't want it. They don't care about that. They have simple needs. And that's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. But whether you're a billionaire or you have everything you need, you still have to be living in abundance. And in order to live in abundance, you have to focus on it long enough to create it. To stabilize in this new energetic field, if you want to call it that. Stabilizing in the energy of abundance. Meaning that's your default state. Every time something happens to you, you're always naturally looking at the best possible outcomes. You always know that it's going to work out and you're not worried about it. Because the more you worry and have fear, the more you're living in lack and scarcity. You're assuming that things will go wrong and, being a realist and looking at the evidence of your life and saying, whoa, what else am I supposed to think? But again, people don't know how to live. People don't know their power. People don't know what they're doing. If you don't realize that you have this God power, you won't use it. And you will use it, but you'll use it on things unconsciously. You'll just get pulled around by your circumstances your whole life. Because, when things are good, you'll focus on the good and you'll feel good and your energy will be good. But then when life starts falling apart, now you're going to feel bad. Now you're going to be annoyed and frustrated. And focus on that. Ups and downs, all your life being pulled all over the place. When in truth, if you enter into the energy of abundance, it doesn't matter what happens. You can go up, you can go down, you're still abundant. You are the cause of your reality. You are not at the effect. Meaning life is not just happening to you, you are creating it. And until you take that responsibility, nothing's going to change. Because you're going to assume that life is just happening randomly. And you'll take what you can get, because you won't ever realize that there's other options. Not only is there other options, but the options are infinite in abundance. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be an NBA superstar. It just means that you don't have to settle for the first thing that comes along. Just because it's nice. Nice enough. And that's the mentality of a winner. What people don't understand, after a certain level, there is no such things as bad options. There is only good options, better options, best options. You have to choose between something that's really good and something else that's really good, but not as good. Whereas poor people and most people, there's the worst option and a little bit less worse option and a little bit less worse option than that. Do you see the dichotomy between people who are successful in this life and people who are not? People who struggle their whole life versus people who are effortlessly successful. It's a completely different mentality. And all you have to do is change your mentality to be aligned with abundance. But so long as you stay stuck in your energy of lack and scarcity, nothing will change. And you'll just feel stuck and struggle. One way I like to look at things is, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Very black and white. Don't get caught in this kind of wishy-washy middle ground. Because you can approach something. Like if you're buying a car, or you're buying a house, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. And when you approach that thing, you'll get a feeling. And it will be on a spectrum between hell no and hell yes. And most often it's just, yeah, it's okay. It's right. It's okay. But that's what settling is. It's just taking an option. Because the survival mechanism comes along and says, well, that's the best you can get right now. So get it, hurry, get it before it goes away, because you need it. And if you don't get it, then you might not have it later. Or you could choose to listen to that inner voice, your soul, that says, Yes, this is okay, but there could be better. There could be more. And only until you get that feeling of hell yes, do you know something is right for you, that it's aligned with your soul's purpose. And if it's not a hell yes, well then it's not aligned with your soul's purpose. And this is great news because there's very few things that will trigger that within you. So it's like in a relationship, you get into a relationship. Is it a hell yes or is it a maybe? Like, yes, I know I know it. Like people who find their soulmates, who live and get married forever, very few. The reason it works out for them and not for other people is because somewhere deep down they know that this person is meant for me. And there's no question about it. But if you don't have that knowing, if you don't listen to that voice, you will not know. And that goes for everything in life, no matter what it is. You either know or you don't know. And if it's like maybe, then you don't know. It's not the right choice. And sometimes you have to wait for the right choice. Because, well, the longer you wait to get off the wrong train, the more expensive the return ticket will be. So when you get in the wrong relationship, the longer you stay in it, the more it's going to suck for you and everyone. You buy the wrong car, you buy the wrong house. Now you got this big burden weighing on you, making your life worse. Maybe you put up with friends you don't really like that much because, well, at least I have friends. You got to get out of beggar consciousness and settling for whatever is thrown at you, whatever scraps are given to you in this life. And you have to demand more. You have to demand the best. Not like running around and saying, hey, I want the best, give me the best. You have to demand the best from your own self. Because you are the one that is settling. No one else. No one else settles for you. No one else kills your dreams. It's about not tolerating your own nonsense. And then you don't tolerate the nonsense from other people. Because the more you tolerate your own nonsense, the more you're just going to tolerate garbage from others. You have to feel worthy enough to demand the best of life. Whatever that means to you. And the only way to do this is to be intentional. You have to be intentional because if you don't have something specific to focus on, you're going to focus on things that have nothing to do with your soul's purpose. Like I say, if you don't do what you're meant to do, you're going to do what you're not meant to do. Because there's billions and billions of distractions in this life that are always trying to get your attention. And if you don't stop, slow down, use your imagination to imagine a better life for yourself and focus on that, well then you're going to get pulled around by things like addictions and self-destructive behavior and monotonous tasks. It's like, why do you think people watch porn and play video games all day? Because they're not living. They're not living their life. They have no life. But they're still alive, which means they got to do something. So they take a substitute. They can't get a relationship in real life, so they have to settle. They can't be a hero in real life, so they have to pretend to be in a video game. They're not really living. And what you find is that once you start actually living, all of the addictions and self-destructive behavior start going away. Like the experiment with the rats and the cocaine. The rats that were isolated and kept from the group were given the option to take some coke, and they just pushed that button until they died. Because they were miserable. But the rats that were in a healthy environment with other rats, they tried the coke and then they stopped it because the feeling of being with other rats was better than the cocaine. So too, when you're actually living, the feeling of being alive is better than the short-term temporary stimulation of these fantasies. And yet we spend our life trying to get rid of addictions, not actually addressing the underlying problem. That if you just lived your purpose, they would fall away naturally on their own. You wouldn't need to do anything. You wouldn't need to fight your addictions or problems. I mean, think about a man who can't get in a relationship. Why not? Because they're not all they could be. They're not good enough yet. Because if they were good enough, they would be in a relationship. But if you choose not to work on yourself and take a journey to self-mastery, well, you're going to have to settle because the instinct isn't going away. It's going to pull you and grip you regardless of what you want. The only way is to deal with it, to channel it in a healthy direction. There is no substitute for real life. There is only actually living and dying slowly. You must overcome your lower animalistic nature and integrate it into your higher purpose. Channel these powerful forces that, again, are not going away. Channel them in a healthy way. Because if you don't channel them in a healthy way, by default, they will be channeled in an unhealthy way. You don't get any luxury of just relaxing for 5 seconds. Life will continuously put pressure upon you to act. And if you choose to ignore it, the pressure will build and build and build until you're really screwed. Like all you want to do is play video games and eat Cheetos all day. Well, that's okay when you're 17 years old. When you're 30 years old, that's a big problem. And life is going to remind you of how big of a problem that is. By destroying you without mercy. No mercy for you. So don't do it. And at the same time, if you start living rightly, life will look at you and say, wow, good job. Let's give you all the abundance in the universe. Congratulations. It's like Mother Nature. Have you heard of Kali? Kali is the ferocious image of Mother Nature, who on one level kills all of the people who are not worthy in this life and destroys them because that is what they deserve, unfortunately. I should say specifically men. Mother Nature destroys the men who are unworthy and rewards and blesses the men who are worthy. It's like you look at someone like Andrew Tate and everybody hates him. Everybody hates this guy, except life is rewarding him with blessings and abundance. So who do you think is correct in their actions, in their judgment? Now, regardless of what you think of him, life clearly looks kindly upon his masculine essence. Mother Nature looks kindly upon him, and you know that by the fruits of his life. And if your fruits are not what you want, it means life is not out to get you. It's not against you. It's just reflecting back to you your worth. Life is very mathematical. You might ask, well, I'm doing all the right things. Why isn't life rewarding me with what I want? Well, the reason that life isn't rewarding you with what you want is because you're not doing the right things. Because if you were, life would reward you. Mathematics. So you don't have to question whether or not you're doing the right things. Life will tell you when you're doing the right things. Because you will be rewarded. Didn't you see that $5 bill in the beginning? You'll see signs of abundance. You'll see signs that you're on the right path. And you'll see signs that you're on the wrong path. And you have to have that discernment and look and see, okay, what actions of mine have been leading me astray? Leading to the unfavorable consequences that I don't want to experience anymore. And you just start cutting those things out of your life. Because the things that you do and the thoughts that you think and your beliefs, they're either pulling you down or helping you rise up. It's like with the angel numbers and stuff like that. What is the whole narrative around those things? Life is telling you that you're on the right path. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. But you have to be aware. Most people are just living their life unconsciously. You have to be aware of what things you're focusing on a daily basis, because the reason your life is the way it is right now is for no other reason than the things you have been focusing on for the past weeks, months, years. And it takes time for your reality to shift. But once you're on the right path, it doesn't matter. You can see your life changing and evolving for the better. And just keep going. Just keep walking that path. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So to the opposite. If your life seems to continue to get worse, well, the reason is because you're doing the wrong things, and you're thinking the wrong things, and you have the wrong beliefs. It's like at the end of the movie, No Country for Old Men. The villain who is about to kill the person asked them, if the rule that you followed led you to this, of what use was the rule? Meaning, if everything you believe, if everything you think, if all of your actions, your philosophy on life has led you to this negative situation that you're in right now, of what use was your beliefs? You know nothing then. If everything you've done has led you to this, of what purpose was your whole philosophy on life? The philosophy failed. We all have a hypothesis of how we should live. And the people who have the right hypothesis succeed, and the people who have the wrong hypothesis fail. And that's the harsh thing about life. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. You're either accurate or you're not. So you have to be willing to let go of your beliefs and your opinions and your identity if you want to evolve and adapt to the pressure that life gives you, so that you can become the greatest version of yourself. Because that is what life is doing. That pressure is shaping you into a diamond. But if you're just wallowing in suffering and so upset about what is happening to you, you'll never realize the lessons that life is trying to teach you. Life is always trying to help you along. Hey, just listen to me. I am life. I know everything. You know nothing. Listen to me, please. For the love of God. And you can either ignore that voice or listen to it. The choice is yours. I am Ray. If you want to start living in royal consciousness and escape beggar consciousness, check this out. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be